Hello and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is episode 62, and the movie I watched was called Libeled Lady. This is the second movie in the 1936 Oscars that I watched. I watched this on January 5th, 2025, and I'm also recording that day. This one was available for free on Tubi. And Tubi's nice because they do have a lot of these older movies for free. They do have a lot of commercials and they are like 90 seconds to 2 minutes long. So this 98-minute movie, probably a little closer to 2 hours with all the breaks, but that's fine. It was free. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. So this one from Wikipedia, Libeled Lady is a 1936 American screwball comedy film directed by Jack Conway. And that's funny because I was watching, my wife watched some of this with me, and I was kind of describing it, saying that it wasn't quite like Madcap or Screwball, like an Adam Sandler type. But then right after I said that, there was a moment that was. So for the most part, I'd say it was just sort of comedy, but there were some screwball moments in it. So anyway, 1936 American screwball comedy film directed by Jack Conway, starring Jean Harlow, William Powell, Myrna Loy, and Spencer Tracy. Jean Harlow is a bit tragic. She died a year after this from, I believe it started with sepsis from a wisdom tooth extraction and kind of escalated from there. And she died at the age of 26. She was kind of a, platinum blonde bombshell in the early to late 30s before she died. I don't think she's that attractive. And that's just me, not to shit on the dead here, but I don't think she's really that pretty. She's also, I don't think she's the greatest of actors. She has appeared in mostly in minor roles in many of the movies that I've watched in this series so far. The major one that she was in was Dinner at Eight. That was one of the snubbed movies that I watched. But she, let's see here, had some smaller roles in The Love Parade from 1929. She was in The Public Enemy in 1931, which is another snubbed movie I watch. Scarface, she had a small role in. And then Dinner at Eight, I mentioned. And that was it up until this one. She only had two final movies after this one. And one of them, I can't remember which one, was her last, Saratoga. Okay, so she died at the age of 26 of kidney failure. So the sepsis led to that. But she was filming Saratoga. I think it basically just started it, but they completed the film with the use of body doubles and released it less than 2 months after her death. Became the highest grossing film of 1937, as well as the highest grossing film of her career. That sucks. Screenplay was written by Maureen Dallas Watkins, Howard Emmett Rogers, and George Oppenheimer from a story by Wallace Sullivan. This was the fifth of 14 films in which Powell and Loy were teamed, inspired by their success in the Thin Man series. So, yeah, going into the other actors here, William Powell plays the lead in this, and he was the lead in The Thin Man. And then Myrna Loy plays the sort of second lead. And she was also in The Thin Man playing his wife. And then, as it said, they went on to be in several movies together. Spencer Tracy was kind of the fourth lead in this. I wouldn't necessarily put them in that order, one, two, three, four, but those were the four leads. This was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. The film was remade in 1946 as Easy to Wed with Esther Williams Van Johnson and Lucille Ball. So again, this being one I mentioned last week, this being one where it probably slipped in because they nominated 10 movies. It was a good movie, but screwball comedies don't typically get in there. So anyway, cinematography by Norbert Brodin, edited by Frederick Y. Smith, music by Dr. William Axt, production company Metro Goldwyn Mayer, distributed by Lowe's Inc., released on October 9th, 1936, with a runtime of 98 minutes. And I did not realize this before, but before I watched it, but William Powell, the lead, and Jean Harlow, the one that passed away the next year, they were married. for about 4 years at the time of her death. Film went into production in mid-July 1936 and wrapped on September 1st. Location shooting taking place in Sonora, California. Lionel Barrymore was originally cast as Mr. Allenbury, and Rosalind Russell was originally considered to play Connie Allenbury. That went to Myrna Loy. Harlow and Powell were an off-screen couple, and Harlow wanted to play Connie Allenbury so that her character and Powell's would wound up together. MGM insisted, however, that the film be another William Powell Myrna Loy vehicle, as they originally intended. Harlow had already signed on to do the film, but had to settle for the role of Gladys Benton. Nevertheless, as Gladys, top-billed Harlow got to play a wedding scene with Powell. During filming, Harlow changed her legal name from Harleen Carpenter McGrew Byrne Rawson to Jean Harlow. She made only 2 more films before dying at the age of 26 in 1937. Tracy had previously been enamored with Loy, who was newly married to Arthur Hornblow Jr. at the time of this production. Loy's autobiography recounted the humorous atmosphere on set. For example, Tracy set up an I Hate Hornblow table in the studio commissary reserved for men who claimed to have been romantically rejected by Loy. That's kind of funny. Not a whole lot on Wikipedia about this one. I will say I like this one as well as the last one. So far, the first 2 movies in this round are pretty good. Oscar worthy. I don't know. This one may be a little less so, just because it is more comedic. In that sense of Oscar movies tend to be sort of more grandiose or epic or dramatic. But this is not a bad movie at all. I liked it. My wife liked it, what she saw. And William Powell and Myrna Loy together, I liked The Thin Man a lot. So they're very good together. And so yeah, this one was pretty good. The basic story is that Connie Allenbury, played by Loy, is falsely accused by a newspaper that Spencer Tracy runs or works for breaking up a marriage. And so her and her father sue the newspaper for $5 million for libel. Tracy was supposed to get married to Jean Harlow's character on the day that they realized that they printed an incorrect story. And so they don't get married that day. So he has the other guy, William Powell, marry his fiance so that they're a real married couple. And then he can go and try to seduce the rich woman, Connie Allenbury, and they can actually print that she broke up a marriage. But things go awry, and, Spencer Tracy's Jean Harlow ends up kind of really falling for William Powell, and he really falls for Connie Allenbury. And so, everybody's kind of in love with each other, and these movies just end. There's not really like a good wrap up or denouement, and they just sort of end, and you kind of get where everybody's going to end up. But this one really was just like, as it was coming up, I was like, and that's the end. And Sarah was like, what? So it was fun. Definitely a fun movie. William Powell's good. He had some good physical comedy. And like I said, him and Myrna Loy together play off of each other very well, despite their age, the age differences of all the men and women in this film. Everybody played off each other very well. So I did enjoy this one. Was it better than Mr. Deeds Goes to Town? Probably not. I think I liked this one a little bit more. This one was a little more fun, but Mr. Deeds Go to Town was probably a little bit of the better movie. So, but that's fine. I actually gave them both 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. But, from the dramatic sense, I think Mr. Deeds is probably a little bit, while still comedic, it probably has a little bit of an edge in that way. But yeah, good start so far. Still got 8 more movies plus the snubbed movie for this round. So a little bit of work to do, but hopefully my goal with these movies is, so last year I watched The Big House on January 19th, 2024. And the last movies I watched was the last movie of the Best Picture nominees was Mutiny on the Bounty on December 12th. So in that time frame, in 2024, essentially, I watched 51 movies from this series. My goal this year is to watch 100 at least. My other goal is to log more than 200 movies on Letterboxd. I logged 184 in 2024. So I was pretty close. I just watched a few more, or 16 more. I would have gotten there, but I do hope to get to at least 200 movies logged total. And I hope for 100 of those to be these old movies. And that's partly just because, so there's 600 movies total. And come early March of this year, there will be 610. There will be 10 more movies added. And some of those are looking to be long. The Brutalist with Adrian Brody is going to be like 3 hours long. It already is. It's already out. So still a lot of movies to get through. But if I can get through, let me just count here. If I can get through 100 of these movies, well, and that's going to include snubbed movies. But let's just say if I got through 100 of these, that would take me up through 1947. Now, if I'm throwing the snubs in there, up through 1947 is another 13. So if I could get up through 1947, that's like 113 movies. That would be great. That would be excellent. So that's kind of the goal. We'll see what happens with it. That is all I've got for this one. I will see you next time.